We start out on this new road. No turning back. But we have our ancestors with us. We're gonna continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Being them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well-versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world, planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs. They still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive as well.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Pakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
Yo, yo. Wednesday's discussion.
Yo.
Malinali Superfood.
LA
Shout
Natives
out.
Podcast, Las Aslan Natives Podcast.
Community. How we doing? Everybody out there, look at the chat. Pretty dope. You know, everybody expects, you know, that it's only a few, but they seem to be excited about us being back on, you know, taking our time to discuss important issues.
Yes, the last time we were here, we had a smaller show because we went out to the 4th of July. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, shout out to XRF, to Yout, Aslan Underground, Victory, Eric, my homie Tino. They did a great event that has been consistent for 24 years. And that's not easy to do, bro. Like, you know, to organize in the way they do and to get it done in that fashion and then to do it in a cool place. They kind of did it in a cool place, which is downtown LA. You know, when they shut a street down. You know, that's a successful, you know, intention. And shout out to Huehueta Toli with their new song, Hear the Call.
So can I ask you, when was the first time you performed there?
For XRF's Farsa July? I was still in Quinto Sol.
So you remember when they organized that, like for the first time, when it was like,
I was still in Quinto Sol.
oh wow,
20 years ago. Yeah, I was still in Quinto Sol, or around the the time where we started finding the enlightenment of. So it had to be like 94.
Well, me growing up out here in the concrete jungle of Los Angeles, I knew of XRF, I knew of Self-Help Graphics, the East Side Cafe, right? There was these venues or these spaces where you would be able to catch indigenous artists.
Well, we were lucky.
And for me, I would always have to tell my friends, like, bro, we're not going to a club. It's like something different. And then they wouldn't know what it was until I actually showed them. I took them with me.
Yeah.
It was those type of shows, right, Zero, that I would see you guys perform.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we were trying to create a scene. We were trying to go, but it was coming out of so many other scenes. It wasn't just a hip hop scene. It wasn't like, Quinto Sol had reggae. During the height of XRF, Aslan Underground was a band, and you had El Vuh that was a hip hop group. So it was more of if we would have went after a festival style, diversity and that kind of thing, and it was for a second, and then it just, it's hard. Like I said, it's not easy to put together festivals, and those guys do it every year. And they don't get paid, other than, whatever they make from the show. But that rarely kind of breaks even. It's really a local artist community event that's been around for 24 years. And it's always made a statement. Luckily, there's always been an artist that's like, getting up there with numbers or has some sort of a following. And this year it was Jag.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Jag.
Shout out to Jag Areola.
Areola.
Super dope MC right there.
Yeah, man. It's all good. Brothers, like everything, we all love you, man. And this is the place that we get together, and even if we don't agree face to face or, whatever the issue is, because sometimes, that's the problem, is that we have a hard time getting along. That's just the reality of it. And we, without saying anything, there's in other circles, there's that same kind of vibe.
Absolutely.
And you know what it is? It's capitalism. Everybody wants to be the breakout superstar. That's what I felt like it was when we were doing our thing. Everybody wanted to rush in and be the breakout superstar so that you can, extend your hand out and everybody will follow your lead. Right?
This is how I see
capitalism. That's capitalism.
Well, remember how back in the days you had to be really good to actually get recognized?
Yeah.
Now look,
you gotta write good
when
music.
it comes to the regular underground hip hop scene, to be honest, sometimes you don't even have to be good and you can make some noise because you have a gimmick. But in 2021, when it comes to the indigenous hip hop scene, to me, you have to be good to stand out now. Like if you're going to be spitting on indigenous hip hop topics and subject matter, you can't be as equivalent to, the underground rapper that's not good. Well, you have to stand out now. So it's kind of like, in retrospect, it's coming back. But for the indigenous scene, it's because you're putting something else on the table. So you have to really go in hard with that.
It's not that it's coming back. It was never gone. It was just that there were gatekeepers prior to social media.
You're right.
Prior to social media, there were gatekeepers. There were people that were A&Rs that felt like they wanted to invest in your movement. And whether you gathered, XRF, dude, they put together some dope ass memorable events in music, Chicano music history. Like 30 years from now, they're going to be explaining this on like PBS or some shit. There were very strong movements. It's just that it's hard to get along and get everybody focused in on the same vision, and that takes brotherhood, and it takes trust. It takes all kinds of things. And not saying that we didn't have it, because they've had amazing events, and they'll still have amazing events in the future.
Yeah.
But if you don't do those consistently, you know what I mean? And build a team that they work on consistently. Like, it's just like Coachella works on Coachella the day after Coachella. right? And they only do one concert a year. So that's how, I'm not saying that XRF isn't Coachella or they're not doing a good job. I'm saying that's how hard it is.
Absolutely.
If you're going to focus in on one show for the entire year, because you're bringing the stage, you're booking the talent, you're the stage manager, you have to worry about the sound. I mean, all of that detail is an immense, but
It's mind-boggling.
nevertheless, great event.
Absolutely.
And great artists that put it together.
It was the first time I believe I went to a XRF event, if I'm not mistaken.
You probably been to one, but like back in the day when you were like
Right.
a Vu fan, you know.
Absolutely.
It wasn't concentrated, and that's what we're trying to do with LA Natives is, you know, make a kind of a village out of it, you know.
Yeah.
The village is that, you know, I'm from LA, Jesus is from Canada, so and so's from Arizona, and we constantly have a home to come to, and that's this podcast, you know, where we'll play the music, because we're thinking of new things in the next season where we're going to do playlists for Spotify.
Guys, for all of our devoted listeners, man, we got so much in the works when it comes to curating a scene for Los Angeles indigenous hip hop. You know,
Yeah, I'm so excited. You know,
creating a space for all these national, international artists to come and say, look, you know, the LA Natives podcast could help us out, put money in our pocket. It's an entertainment business. It's a hip hop concert.
but that's your generosity, Armando, because I don't know any promoter that wants to give people opportunities to make money.
Oh, and best believe, bro.
Because right here in LA, it's not about you. Oh, you get to play. You get to play.
There's a big misconception when it comes to hip hop in general. Oh, you know, do it for the culture. Yeah, of course. But, you know, what if you do this for a living? Mm-hmm. Am I right, Zero?
Yeah.
That's a whole different perspective. And unfortunately, a lot of people cannot relate to a situation like I'm in, where I have tunnel vision when it comes to contributing to the entertainment business, let's say, as a whole, right? It's mind-boggling to me. I can't run away from it. I'm just trying to do my best to leak music that matters into the catalog that we work with. And what's wrong with that, right, sir?
Well, here's what I was trying to say is that when I told you that these organic movements couldn't start in the early 90s was because there was gatekeepers. There was still record labels. We were getting into MP3s, making the transition into digital formats of music. That was unheard of. First, you had to go find a studio that had, you know, ADATs or complicated ways of recording because it was barely moving into the house. I mean, there were other home studios, but you had to have a lot of money to get those. But then when it made it like a reality, like before, reality shows made stars out of ordinary people. And it's the same thing that's happening now. This cell phone is making stars out of people because now you can go, oh, wow, I have a live network. Right? Everybody, I've seen it a lot on the IGs, like, I'm going to go live at 8 o'clock. I'm going to go live at 8 o'clock. I'm going to talk about my shoes. You know, it's like, that's where we're at now. So the record companies knew that was happening. So then they flood the market with everyone can upload onto Spotify. Everyone could be onto Apple iTunes. Everyone. And it floods the market. But it floods the market with mediocre talent because those same techniques kind of work in the social media game, like to make an artist popular. Like a lot of people don't know that, you know, Eminem releases a new artist, like let's say as an example, this isn't something I read, but they used to buy records. Like Eminem would go, oh, I'm gonna buy up 50,000 copies.
They would buy, it's called the buyouts.
Yeah. That's old. That's old. You know what I mean? That ran through the 2000s, but they couldn't do it when it got to digital. And they figured better ways of doing it. Right? Now they call it streaming.
And how you guys were so underground and never even wanted to taste those those mainstream flavors, right? If you're an artist today in 2021, you have to compete, right? The indigenous hip hop community, I could say right now, Zero, everyone that's a part of it, you know, like you said, they're climbing the mountain, but they're all on different paths.
I kind of compare it to the indigenous hip hop scene is like the Chicano rap scene.
Yeah.
Exactly. It mirrors it, except the Chicano rap scene comes with a uniform and it comes with the sound. And all the famous artists on that scene have the same uniform and the same sound. Here's the difference between
and the Chicano rap scene. There's a seniority aspect to part that too. Like legends are always going to be legends, right?
But there's superstars in there. There's like Night Owl. There's like Little Rob. There's like
Mr. Shadow,
Mr. Shadow, Conejo. I mean, and the younger cats that are coming out. Oh, what are the younger cats?
Young Drummer Boy.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah,
you know the more trappy sounding, you know, Chicano rap scene. King Little T, that's who I kept.
King Little G.
Yeah, King Little G, that dude. Those guys are still part of the Chicano rap scene, but they still kind of have the same uniform. They still kind of have the same sound. It's almost like one producer produces everything. As an example, I'm not saying that's what happens, but the sound is similar.
Yeah.
Like an oldie sample, you're rapping about a girl. It's almost like someone had the formula of a hit song and they went, we're going to follow it till the end. And it's still going. But when you mention like superstars, they all bubble up to the top right away. And Conejo's one of them. For in my opinion. Because his lyricism, like he's a true, but in his own way. Like he became a hip hop artist in his own way. Like he became like a Nas in his own way, in his own scene. You know what I mean? Like the best of the best. And the difference is when I compare it to indigenous hip hop, which is like Chicano rap, everyone has a different uniform, a different sound, a different message. The reason it's not going to be mainstream is because it comes with the story of genocide.
Wow, yeah, that's deep, Zero.
It's never going to be mainstream because it comes with, unless you're going to conform and go, okay, I'm not going to talk about the story of genocide.
And in simple terms, it comes with truth.
We were very profound artists, Armando, for thousands of years. This isn't new. This isn't a new thing. When they came here, they thought they were in another planet because of the art. And when I mean art, I don't mean like somebody cool and somebody that does cool paintings and stuff. Their life was how they greeted you, what presents they had, how much, knowledge their family carried. Like, that's the way I felt like it is. Doesn't come with ego, doesn't mean that it doesn't come with a womanizer, doesn't mean that we didn't live with those things, because everyone lives with those things. Those things are natural. It's not, I want to break that perspective so bad. That Christian perspective that there's this fucking utopic place where nobody does anything to you. It's like, that doesn't exist. I'd rather train the community to be aware of this very dangerous jungle in this very dangerous place. But if you're fucking on point and you're on your diet and you love your family and you love yourself, you're going to fucking guide through. You're going to surf on the tension of everything because you're enjoying life, and life is always going to be hunting you down. Have that perspective. Like, I want to be, every day I wake up, I know I shook the hand of death and I went, not today. I respect you, but not today. Because I woke up. Now I have to deal with crossing the street, dealing with racist cops, dealing with governments that want to vaccinate you, dealing with all these things. I have to be on point.
Now,
and it has never changed since they came.
I don't know if you just heard, but the Biden administration, they're announcing that they might have people go door to door and make sure that you're vaccinated.
Yeah. No, that's happening. That's happening.
I don't think societies has ever seen anything like that as of yet. I just,
And when it comes to this thing, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but when it comes to this, I've never seen a multimedia campaign where you have to hire, you know, musicians and actors to go, hey, go get your shot. You know, I never heard a president go, we're going to target hotspots. What does that mean? Hotspots of what? Delta variant? What's the next name they're going to come up with? First it was COVID-19. That's gone. Now it's a Delta variant. What else are they going to say? And why is it a hotspot? Is it a hotspot because people are refusing to take the vaccine? Is that a hotspot? Is that what you're noticing? Like, oh shit, there's a fucking million of those people over there that don't want to even touch it or line up or this is more than just what meets the eye here, you know? And it's not to talk shit about people's perspective or fear, because this is a very serious thing, but don't give up your human right to do, you know what I mean? Like, you're giving up everything, and they're going to go door to door. That's kind of frightening. How do you treat them when you go, hey, I don't want to divulge that information to you? You know, that there's something called the HIPAA law. You know, the HIPAA law means you're not supposed to share medical information with anybody other than your physician. And now they're going to go and knock on your door and say, hey, can I have some medical information about you? What the fuck is that? That's what I'm trying to, I'm not talking shit about it. I'm just putting it out there in a different way so you could see it.
Yo, I was just tripping out on that announcement. But look, going back into the whole Chicano rap scene, now apparently there's a new movement. Well, I've been knowing about it, like the Fools Gone Wild movement. You know? Mm-hmm. Shockingly, they're selling out the observatory. Now they're going to sell out.
That's not shocking. It's
to me, it's shocking because it just we all know what Fools Gone Wild is all about. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah, totally. It's funny. It's you know, I like it every once in a while.
I want to show you a clip of one of their last performances, if you don't mind. It's right here.
Woke up the next morning and called the party line, searching every room for a finance dime. Lil Mr. Reed trying to have some fun, and that's around the time when the story begun. You're sweating like a pregnant nun. I'm calling from a payphone and I'm having fun. My name is Little Mystery and I'm on the run. I gotta hit the next room cause the shit is done.
Damn, you're a sick ass fool. I'm looking for a real vato, not a bitch ass fool. Tekashi 6ix9ine is a snitch ass fool. And my brother's locked up so he can get that fool.
Room 3's where all the net bangers are. Fuck you, homie, what's cracking? Where are you from, you fucking lame? Fuck you, homie, I'm right here posted up with the rollerblades and an orange bandana at the Jack and the Crack. Fuck you.
Okay. Is that Chicano rap?
Now it is.
It is now.
It is now.
Absolutely.
Because of the phone. I'm telling you, if that wouldn't have, nobody would. Well, I don't know if a record label would have went after that, but apparently they're doing enough things themselves where they can market, build. I mean, they sell dolls.
They're selling out venues at 2,000 capacity.
And what was the ticket price? Was it $20, $30?
Maybe anywhere between $20 and $30. Yeah.
And no headliner. Mr. E's the headliner, right? The main dude from Fools Gone Wild, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't even know his name, but yeah, it's Mr.
His name is Mr. E.
Mr. E.
I follow their page. It's funny. It's hilarious. I think of it like as the most exaggerated stereotype of Mexicans. And if you like to laugh at yourself or like to laugh at the community around you, then that's the page for you. Because you will see that, you know, they make fun of people who smoke methamphetamine. They make fun of, you know, people who wear high socks. You know, that was like, you know, I never thought that, you know, when I grew up, Armando, when you saw high socks, you were kind of a little terrified because I was like 12 years old, you know, and those guys were bad dudes.
Honestly, when I was growing up, I would see high socks and I would be like, yeah, what's cracking? I want to go over there. Like, you know?
Yeah, the traviesos are over there. You know, that's where they were not funny. They were not funny back then. And now it's a trip to see that they're funny. Like,
and to monetize that to the maximum.
yeah, like the guy,
and to create skits.
Mr. E's outfit. When I used to see my best friend's uncle, who was that same outfit, the high socks, the slippers, he'd come out in boxers with no shirt. That dude with the high socks,
Cortezes or something.
Yeah,
right?
That guy was always stealing my money, stealing my weed, punking me. Well, he was like 30, and I was only like 15, But it wasn't somebody I laughed at. If I laughed at him, he might have took it wrong, and then I'm asked out.
Now there's
now it's funny that that cholo. What's the name of that other cholo dude that kind of does the exercise, and he's one of those like
yeah.
He's kind of like a Fool's Gone Wild. I don't know if he has his own page, but it's a comedian thing.
At the same time, though, Zero, I see that page. I'm like, is this moving the culture forward when it comes to the stereotypical Latino Mexican that's out here?
There's a lot of us here. That
I take it as humor because for me, I had a family member that I could relate to.
He's a gangster, dude. It's not. It just trips me out that people laugh at them like that. And back in the day, you didn't laugh at them like that.
But this is the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because it's like, it's hard enough to get indigenous hip hop to get on a level like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Zero?
Yeah.
Where you're actually selling out the observatory where it packs out 2,000 people in Orange County. I don't know of any indigenous hip hop artists right now that could do that.
No. And that wasn't even a hip hop artist that did that. That was a page. That was a page on Instagram that happened to have characters in that page. And those characters are people who post, and then they get shared on that page. So it's a reality show on steroids that has merchandise. And it's funny. It's funny to sort of, if you have dark humor inside of you, if you think it's funny to laugh at somebody who smokes meth or whatever, or someone who says hell no, or someone who does all those things. I mean, you grew up around it.
Who didn't go to Jack in the Box when you grew up in LA?
Yeah, that's the thing. That was
it's
like
part of the culture.
Yeah, what's open at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, 4 a.m. I wish them well, dude. They're dope, but we're not that. But you know what I feel like they are? They're like the Juggalos or the Insane Clown Posse kind of, vibe, where it's not really. It's like the whole vibe is the show is like, I want to go see the merch. I want to go see that fool that they posted. I want to see Mr. E. It's like all the things that are being featured on that page.
Right, but like think about it. Who obviously there's a certain group of individuals that 2,000 of them that went to this concert to see this and to hear this, the humor behind it all, right? Are those regular concert goers that are just going to see a dope hip hop show?
I wouldn't think so. There's like, dude, there's 7 million people in Los Angeles, I think. And out of that, 2,000 people went to Orange County and saw the show. Like, it's not hard to get those numbers because when you have a page that's 500K, I think it's like 500K. Their algorithm's insane. I'm sure they advertise and they're running their page well.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And pages like that only motivates me to push indigenous hip hop further.
I think indigenous hip hop, if we did something close to what they do, like if we get to 500K, it would immediately go to 2 mil. And then from there, it would probably go to 5 mil because people want to hear our story, man. It'll be, the 2 mil will be solid us, but the people from, we're not even talking about Mexico, South America, Argentina, Brazil. The story of the indigenous continent is massive. We're not separate. Chicanos are not separate from natives on the res. They're not. We're just the orphaned individuals that got left on the side of the road, and they're still there. You go to Mexico City, you see children starving, begging for food, living on the street. We're those people. Except our parents dusted themselves off and went to work. shut their mouth and just went to work.
Yeah, like to me, A Fool's Gone Wild is glorifying the group of people that my parents were trying to have me stay away from. That's deep.
Yeah.
You know? And now for me to see this and they're making fun of it, and I'm just like, man, that's...
It's just because you could now. Back then, you couldn't. Tell me, really, the real gangsters, like, that kind of look like
no
that.
way you could push it off like this.
Do you think you would be able to say any of that stuff to them?
Absolutely not.
Or treat them like they're the dummy? Or they're the funny guy? It's like, no, man, this like these guys were real. And that's why they were all gone. And now they're starting to come back, and now Fool's Gone Wild. And, you know, it's like, it's really...
They took over the phrase of, like, World Star, right? You see something stupid. World Star, now you see something stupid. Fool's Gone Wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. I love that they went right into dolls, like their little action figures and, you know.
And they're wearing the doll heads on stage.
To me, I think it's a group of brilliant comedians. They're
creatives, artists.
But they know how to really pull out the stereotypes. You know what I mean? And for some people, it's funny. For some people, it isn't. You know what I mean? There's conservative. I'm sure there's people out there on our chat, like, you know, some conservative native who's like, I don't want to deal with any of it. And that's the diversity of our group. The diversity of our group is that, yeah, you have conservatives, you have payasos, you have this. It's just like the hood. You know, you have a diverse landscape. And that's what I love about indigenous hip hop. It has such a diverse landscape because you have from Mexico, indigenous hip hop, and then you have indigenous hip hop from Los Angeles, which is El Vuh, and then you have indigenous hip hop from Canada, which is Drizzt, and then you have indigenous. See how big that is? It's a huge freaking market, huge, massive.
There's always a group that you mentioned to me, Tribe Called Red.
Yeah,
right. So they're a reggae group?
No, they're an EDM group. They're dope.
It's an EDM group.
Yeah.
But they speak on indigenous subject matter.
I think they sample I think it's like 3 producers, and they make like either beats and instrumental style. But they're huge. They're huge. I seen them twice in Los Angeles. Every time I seen them, and they're booked by Golden Voice, bro. That tells you everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they played the Troubadour and they played the Ray. That's Golden Voice. You know, so they're I mean, not that they wouldn't play a show for LA natives if we paid them. I mean, that's just the way it goes. We wouldn't know.
And speaking on events, July 29th, Superman is in Los Angeles. Zero of El Vuh is performing. Natani Means is performing. We're going to be doing some ticket giveaways. If you're from Los Angeles and you want to go to this event Thursday night, July 29th, just go ahead and leave a comment in the chat and get a chance to win a pair of tickets.
Absolutely.
Simple as that, guys.
Superman.
That's
what I'm saying is that Superman should have been in Los Angeles a long time ago, but and get the respect that he did. But we're going through technology booms. You know, he kind of came out when how long ago was that?
6-7 years ago.
About 6-7
Maybe
so
8 years ago.
That was around the time where like Fora started breaking.
Absolutely.
And so that was when you were able to upload videos that you shot off a very, dope ass camera that you paid, a couple G's for, and you're able to upload that video onto YouTube. So it was a very weird time. And I'm sure that when Superman did his amazing video and got 1 million hits, it was hard to kind of put all that together, because when you put a tour together, when you put a show together, you can't just make wild decisions. You have to make very good decisions. And those people have to be in place. And nobody's in place for that. Now there is. You're starting to put yourself in place for that.
And, what I would dream of is for every person that listens to indigenous hip hop to come out to the Superman event. I want, I'm envisioning this to be elbow to elbow, sold out. That's what he deserves, Zero.
Yeah.
Just based off
I really
numbers he gets on YouTube.
I really, although it's not branded,
the credibility that he has, his lyricism, his style, technique, he's by far one of the most popular cats out there in the hip hop game.
Yeah. And we have to take him for what it is, you know, and, you know, people evolve, man. They're not the same person like I told you at the beginning of the podcast, every day I wake up, I shake hands with death and I said, thank you for not today, you know. You evolve with that understanding. And you may start off one way. You may have a very passionate approach to certain issues, but then those issues get resolved in your heart, in your mind, and you move on. Life is a journey. It isn't to be stuck on. But if you are conservative, stay that way. It's cool. I love conservative natives, you know, as far as the ones that are off grid to the ones that live in the city who are very disciplined. I like to live life and I like to enjoy things and I like to meet people and I like to stand firm in who I am. So that's my experience, and that's what LA Native.
I have such a passion to creating memories. You know, Zero, you've seen me. I've thrown hundreds of shows.
Yeah.
And it's creating dope memories, right? And for me, you know, to see Superman perform live, it's going to be quite possibly one of the best experiences I'll ever come across, because it just his stage presence and what he puts on stage. I want to see that, you know, and that's what I'm hoping everyone that's tuning in, let your friends and family members know. Thursday, July 29th, Superman's performing with Natani and Zero of El Vuh. It's going to be such a memorable experience, and I believe good medicine.
Yeah. I think of it like this, Armando. LA Natives has been doing its thing consistently. We threw our first show on June 25th, massive success. I don't expect anything less from June 29th. What I expect, though, is LA Natives family to be on top of it. Like, get your pre-sale tickets, do your thing, because we're a tribe. When we show up together, if you're there to see me perform, we're a tribe. Tell everybody, because there's family coming, you know, and that family's coming from a far distance to share their heart. Whatever it is, if there's hidden messages within it that you don't agree with, just don't agree with it. But know that the tribe is gathering. You know, I took a little bit of an audiobook to the Dome this morning, and it was a story of Geronimo. But it was written by a white man. In a white man's perspective, you could right away tell, because he's tried to sensationalize the battles. But when I was hearing and I was reading between the lines, it was such a sad story, bro. It's like he was in this tribe, and then the Spanish army came and killed his wife and 3 kids.
Wow.
And his mom. He was so distraught. But the white man is trying to paint it in the picture of a savage. So he explains that he gets to be with this other tribe. You know, he goes, there was 80 warriors left over, and those 80 warriors decided to retreat, regroup, and some joined other Apache tribes, right? And Geronimo was so devastated with the Spanish murdering his wife, 3 kids, and his mother. You could tell that he's telling the story from his perspective of learning. He's telling this white man, man, I was so distraught. I was trying to get any native to go after me on a suicide mission because I was so devastated. And he wasn't, and so he goes off on this hunt, or this supposedly bounty they're gonna go, you know, steal from whoever. And that they go, he convinces 5 of them to go with him, and 4 of them die. And so he has to go back to the tribe and tell them, we got nothing and we lost 4 men. Then the next story comes where he convinces another 6 people or 7 people to go with him. He goes off. 5 of them die. They come back with nothing. And 5 people die. He has to tell this story to the tribe that he's telling them, come on, warriors, you come fight with me. He has to tell the wives of the warriors that died, your husband died defending me, trying to get revenge. Apparently the white man was saying that Geronimo was just thirsty with revenge. And he might have been, but I believe that he was telling the story in the way of learning from anger. that he finally got, after a few years, he got maybe 20 people to go with him. And that this time he was successful. This time they brought back cattle, they brought back things. They were on fire. They were winning battle after battle and bringing back. But I think he was trying to tell the white man, I did that without being angry. I did that by being a good warrior and calming myself down. No one can replace the loss that he went through. But I think he was trying to tell that story, and I'm trying to read between the lines of this white man's trying to sensationalize the killings that he did, the robbing of white people. But really, Geronimo's telling a story of like, I had to calm my ego down. I had to calm my ego down so I could gather my troops, so I could gather people to fight with me in a good way. Those are very deep lessons that we learn. And so the reason I tell that story is that each time we throw this concert, man, picture it like us trying to gather the group, and we're trying to present information, whether you agree with it or not. An LA Natives event, an indigenous hip hop event, is indigenous survivors telling the story of genocide through our lens, through our generational trauma, with our love in our heart and our passion in our art. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. Again, we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets on every show up to the 29th. If you're down to go, simply just go into the chat and say, yo, I want to go to this event. I'm going to give you a pair of tickets.
Absolutely. Thursday,
July 29th. Superman, brought to you by Underground Hip Hop Blog. Also performing Natani Means, Zero of El Vuh, Illness, Yaz, Sub One.
Azaman.
No,
not for this one. I thought you said you were probably.
No. He's doing. I think he's doing the China Mac.
He's doing the China Mac.
Yeah,
China Mac. That's good, dude. Yeah. That's good too.
And we have Jesus coming up.
Yeah, we've been talking to him and getting some.
We're planning on bringing out Jesus and Dakota Bear.
Dakota Bear's fire.
We're gonna be releasing some info on that by next week. It's gonna definitely be a memorable show.
So that's what I mean. Community, family, LA Natives, anybody that supports our live events. We're getting all the kinks out. Friday, the commemoration of Custer's Last Stand was an amazing event. I got nothing but positive. I don't expect Superman to be any less. I actually expect Superman to be maybe 4 times more than what we did with LA Natives.
Absolutely.
And then when we get to Dreezus, it's going to be on another level. We're trying to create a consistent home for you where you can go and express yourself as an adult and say, hey, man, I want to learn. I want to learn if I'm stage 1 or if I'm a stage 100. If you're at stage 100, you want to share. If you're at stage 1, you want to learn. And me and Armando are just trying to put everybody together, and we're calling like the great chiefs of the past to come congregate, get some sustenance, get some information, dance around the fire, and create change with a very different perspective, like a breaking of a colonial perspective.
And if we have any new viewers, please do us a favor. Go all the way down to episode number 1 and listen to our content. Because since day 1, there's always been one message and one message only. It's unity and
the truth about genocide, and the truth about our survival, and the truth about our strength, and the truth about our wisdom, and the truth about our community, and the truth about our perseverance, and the truth about our knowledge. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Enough of, you got to piece the puzzle together yourself. This is not, especially don't look to me to be this weird mystical being. I'm just a person that really committed himself to a certain diet, a certain way of walking, a certain way of looking at things, and I broke my colonial perspective. when they used to put you, or when you go into the sweat lodges, when you go into the Vision Quest, when you go into the Sundance, you go alone. You're sovereign. You have your own opinion. You have your own thought process. You have your own passion and fire that gets you through these ceremonies. There's a reason why we teach that to our youth. We want them to be individuals, to be critical thinkers. We had to learn that with almost invisible. The Chicanos, the orphans, the ones that didn't have the tradition embedded into their life. We had to walk with blindfolds trying to find, and sometimes we would find and it wasn't the right place, and then we would turn around and find another place until we found home. And the home was ourselves. The home was, wow, I went and learned from them. Oh, I went and learned from them. Oh, and I felt comfortable here. Just like our great ancestors who took that 200, I was talking to Daniel. He said the Mexicas walked from Utah to Mexico City and it took them 240 years. That is the will of one of the greatest, and I say that in a humble way, not in a dominant way, to make a commitment. And some people stayed as they walked. They would stay. They're like, no, we're not going on the journey still. And there's a core of people that just followed that hummingbird, you know.
Shout out to Native Tennessees. They say, more than anything, you offer guidance, Zero, and I thank you for that and every person I have encountered on my journey of decolonization.
Absolutely. That's the way we should take it.
We are going to be releasing some new merch. I'm in the talks with DJ Give, dope DTG designs. I think it's about time, right, Zero, for us to release some good merchandise, new t-shirts, new hoodies. Zero's coming out, obviously, with the new single. Artwork is coming up. It's we have so much in the works.
Yeah. And it's all to kind of, you know, create our tribe. Our tribe has
We have a new updated logo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We added Las Aslan on the top. There's a lot of work to be done.
Well, we're
getting more people to contribute on social media, and I'm so dedicated to launch our other segment, which is going to be our Patreon, our exclusive behind the scene content, extended clip content, right? On situations and issues that we can't necessarily talk on live YouTube.
Yeah.
Or Twitch.
Well, it's in depth, and also, you know, you gotta start from beginning to end when you go into depth with something. Right here, it's like kind of hard because, you know, you go, and then I don't want to create the whole show to be about that, so I have to cut it off, and you know, you have your input as well. So it's and the chat has their input, so it's a very loose forum, but just kind of letting you know that this is a safe place for you to express your hurt. But don't just express your hurt. I don't want this podcast to be just about our survival of genocide. Our survival of genocide is probably the most beautiful story you will ever hear. That's the way I want you to view our genocide. Because when a nova happens in the sky, right? The Wasishu term for a star explosion. It leaves beautiful colors in contrast against the night skies. I don't believe that our ancestors had a judgment about something they could never explain. They only were able to experience it. So stay focused on that experience, which is your life. And yeah, some bullies came around and they punched you in your eye, but you survived in whatever way you could. It's our job to elevate it. It's our job to listen to our children, because they know. One time he saw my baby, my 5-year-old, saw me and his mom argue, and he tells me, he sat me down, he's all, "Dad, I don't like it when you talk to mom that way." can you not do it in front of me? And I listened to him. I listened to his tender heart. I listened to the feeling he had inside there. And I do my best not to do it in front of him or ever. But that's an impossible task because we all have this tiny little ego that we feel like we need to defend. And that's what our ancestors called defeating our own self. Right? So.
Yo, we have some new viewers. Again, if you want to get your 2 tickets, a pair of tickets, simply go into the chat, leave a comment, message. Yo, I want to go. I'm down to go. And I'll send those tickets right to you. July 29th, we got Superman. This Sunday, we have a very special guest. And starting tonight, I'm going to go super hard on the booking. Next Wednesday is going to be jam-packed. Every Sunday now, we're going to have some very special guests. And I do not want to forget about our dedicated iTunes and Spotify listeners, Zero. Every episode that we've uploaded, they stream anywhere between 250 up to 400, 500 views.
Wow.
Well, listens.
That's good.
And these are people that can't necessarily join us live, but they're either at work or at the gym or doing something at home.
Well, I'm
and they
honored.
listen to us. They listen to you, Zero. And,
I'm
and those
honored.
are the people that inspire me and help me continue to move forward. You know,
I'm completely honored at individuals that, take a second listen. I mean, I've had, a lot of interaction on my Instagram regarding this podcast. A lot of the interaction that I have in public is because of this podcast. And I just want to be humble and clear that, we all have this wisdom inside of us. This is not something special or particular to me or anyone else. The insecurity comes when you feel like you don't know it. So then you feel like you go, oh, wow, I really like this guy, because he knows more than I do, right? And that's a big mistake that you can make, because when that person turns out to be just a person that makes bad decisions sometimes, or maybe wasn't clear, or maybe exaggerated, or maybe lied. Maybe people don't value not lying. I do. I value not lying. But not lying doesn't mean to be rude. Not lying means you find the most elegant way to tell the truth without hurting someone's feelings. That to me is not lying. It's being honest and truthful and clear so that there's no guessing. So I'm glad you enjoy the message of, Warrior Think Tank. Thank you for the really long chat, responses and that great, compliment that individual gave me right now. I feel honored, and, thank you for letting me know how many people really listen to us, Armando, because, that's a big deal, and we take that very serious and very humbling, and know that I'm not an individual that kind of bends for anything or anyone. If I see it and it benefits my community and it benefits my family and it benefits my team, then I'll discuss it and make sure that everybody's on the same page, and then we'll go. But don't expect this show to be a crazy ass, sponsor. It's not Fools Gone Wild. It's not going to be that.
Absolutely not.
It's not going to be
It's
that.
never going to be that.
No. It's cool, but I'm not dissing Fools Gone Wild. Absolutely not. Those guys are killing it. But we're the opposite of that. We're going to tell you the truth about your history, even though it's hurtful sometimes. But I think we change perspective, right? If we look at our past and go, well, maybe it in some people's ears that may ring or make your heart feel sadness, but in my ears it feels like triumph. We're still here. We're still speaking. So not speaking our language, but still speaking in behalf of native ancestors.
Absolutely.
That's dope.
So Elaine 8VMXKA says, my thing is, why am I going to spend my energy on the enemy? when I spend my energy in positive ways with my family. So when I watch this, I take the positive from here. That's Okamali.
Yeah.
We've been able to help a lot of people, you know, like, believe it or not, right, Zero? Like, we've gotten dozens of messages of people saying, like, whoa, what kind of podcast is this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are doing such an amazing job. I want more. Where's the Patreon?
Because it challenges white supremacy.
And we're going through our growth pains. Like, you know, this is something that was like a project that me and Zero started doing. And
we
now
didn't expect loyal followers like this
like,
and all that.
Shout out to all the Spotify listeners.
Absolutely.
By the thousands, like tens of thousands. Like, shout out to everyone nationally, internationally, in Australia, Mexico, Canada, especially in Canada.
But I like the pace we're going at. The pace we're going at is actually really relatively quick. But some people want it overnight, and they want that Whole Foods Gone Wild 2000 sellout. It's like, when we get there, it's gonna be a party. You know, when we get to the sold out 2000 venues, and we're booking the Hollywood Palladium or whatever else.
And what podcast is giving away a pair of tickets? We just have a winner right here. Azteca Maya Dasante.
There you go.
And
he's
all you have to
I've
do.
heard his name several times on our podcast. So
yo, my man,
it's an honor.
Go ahead and email us at lanativespodcast@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and send you those tickets. All I need is your first name and last name.
Absolutely. Congratulations, brother. And thank you for being such a I remember your name. And Mondo's has mentioned it many, many times. And look at the chat. You know, we see some reactions to them, and it's such a beautiful community, man. I feel excited.
So
it's like
Northern California Chicano far fan says Stewie G is fire. I don't know who Stewie G is.
I don't know, but
I
guess we got to look.
Let us know.
We got to look him up.
Yeah, we definitely need to look him up. Maybe he wants us to book him or anything.
Yeah.
Boog says, helped me for sure. Can't believe my story is so similar to so many.
Yeah. They're not going to tell our story, man. We need to tell our story. And then when you hear somebody tell your story, you go, oh shit, that's the same fucking story. Isn't it weird? They're not going to fucking sit there with history books and go, look, here's a story how we messed you up. They're not going to do that. I mean, recently, like a year ago, I remember somebody posted on Instagram, and they said that there was a school book in Texas that said that Africans were willing participants, that they went to that the white man went to Africa and said, hey, who wants to go to the New World? Well, hey, your luxury seat waits right here. You know, it's like that's what we're up against. You know, that's beyond. That's sinister to not tell the truth, because when you don't tell the truth, then you fall into this perpetual lie, right? And that word perpetual, it cuts me deep, because that word was used in the doctrine of discovery, right? To put all non-Christians and non-whites into perpetual slavery. That's a strong statement. We're going to put you into perpetual slavery. That's like almost like a spell. Right? How do you get to be put in a position where you're put into perpetual slavery? They have to destroy your parents mentally. They have to destroy their heart. They have to destroy their will. And that's how your children gets indoctrinated into being a janitor, whatever low class job that white people don't want to do for convenience.
And this is why
perpetual slavery.
I just found out recently that you're going to be doing a workshop at the LA College Prep Academy, right?
I'm excited about that.
That's amazing, Zero. How did you lock in that gig?
Well, the doctor, I forgot his name, the head guy at that academy said, he gave Azomatli a day. And then he looked at me, he's like, oh, wow, I want you to do it too. He's like, I guess you write your lyrics on the board and you kind of break it down word for word for these kids. I was so excited to do that because I would imagine that some of those kids are kind of aloof. They're kind of just floating around. And if something clicks, if I can articulate my energy, if I could focus myself, if I could humble myself to be around young souls like that and be able to provide just a tiny bit of light, because that tiny bit of light expands and then it becomes their life, you know? So I'm excited to do that workshop for them.
Yo, matter of fact, Boogs, I got my fiance here in the building. We're going to go ahead and send you that package, my man. I haven't forgot. Thank you for the great conversation I had with them with Facebook. It was amazing.
Dope.
Shout out to Boogs. It was Dr. Gordon.
There you go, Dr. Gordon. Yeah,
Such an amazing dude, man.
He reached out. He has a good piece of property, and everyone who has a child in the age group and wants to experience like no bullying, no colonial, you know, indoctrination. You know, a lot of people don't realize that when you go to regular, you know, free public schools, there's a lot of experiences that happen in those places, like bullying, rejection, questioning of intelligence, authority. All these things happen at these public realms. So when you're able to take a child and put them in a free space where they're, you know, individuals that are critically thinking of a curriculum that's going to help your child survive in this white supremacist jungle, then I would look at that twice.
So it's a 2-hour workshop?
I'm not sure. He didn't tell me the time, but I mean, I'm sure I don't know if I'll have, like, I want to get my point across, you know, because, you know, when you're in front of young souls like that, it could be something that they carry with them, you know, it's just so, it's just an honor to be in front of young souls like that. That's just the way it is for me, you know.
I can't wait to that. We're gonna film it. It's such a great thing to do for the kids, Zero, you know, to do a workshop. When I found out Ozzy was doing it, I was like, yo, this is
like, what school does
so
that?
real.
Like, Ozzy's like dope ass. His lyrics are dope, and I would love to sit in that room and just kind of see how he breaks it down or how he wrote it, because he doesn't write it down. He kind of freestyles it and then records it, and then remembers.
These are the similar workshops and extra exclusive content we're going to be releasing on our Patreon. Best believe that, Zero.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, people need a little more sometimes. You know.
Yeah, and a focused, planned out storyboard project that you're going from point A to point B, and it's very clear when you finish that episode. That's what I want to provide for Patreon.
Pre-recorded, edited content.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really, really exclusive, guys. We are gonna release the Patreon very, very soon. Like I said, I'm gonna get some people involved on our social media so I can free up some more time for myself to get the equipment we need to get it rocking and rolling, guys. I know you guys have been asking about it, and it's gonna come really, really, really soon. I want everyone to do us a huge favor. Smash that like button on YouTube. Share that Twitch video if you're on Twitch. Leave a comment on YouTube. Anything will help. Let a friend, family member know about this podcast. We got a lot of guests in the coming that are just gonna blow your mind away. I'm still I still feel like I have a hangover from our June 25th event.
Yeah, it was very, it was a very powerful event, because I've been going to like public places and people were there. You know what I mean? Like certain places where they're like, hey, I was at Jenny was at the Dodger game, and one of the security guys was like, LA Nate's podcast, and they were shouting, I was there on Friday, and like, letting Jenny know that they were there at the Catch One. We had 270 people show up. And I think nobody really got out of control. There were no dramas other than what we had before, but that was cleared up pretty quickly. So I can't imagine that Superman not be double, triple what June 25th was.
Absolutely. It was such a memorable night. One artist that really stood out was Nug Life by far. Zero.
I like
killed
Nug
it.
Life's crowd. Like Nug Life's
And I love
crowd
how he
is dope.
incorporates.
I also like Nug Life. Don't get me wrong. I should have said, absolutely. Nug Life is fire. His crowd is fire too, though.
I love how he incorporates an MC with him. You know how as he does his beats live on stage, he has his homie like just ripping the mic.
Yeah,
and they create that nice vibe. Olmeca, man, such a memorable performance.
Like
right
he
there,
brought
man.
like all of Project Flow.
And that dude burnt the house down, bro.
Yeah, he was cool. I liked it. I liked my performance. It was an amazing night. What I liked more about it was that I knew that there was people there that maybe weren't eye to eye, but they were there. And that's what I mean. That's the type of unity that we need. We need to be like, oh yeah, I'm militant up to the extreme, and I need, while I'm just kind of getting into it, and I still kind of do things that I'm still learning. It takes a while to get to a place where you feel really solid in the message that you're giving out. You can't just read your way through it. You can't just. I tried. I told Masatzin, I was like, man, I'm reading this book. He's like, yeah, you could read it 100 times, but I have to explain it to you. I have to give it to you with love. I have to sit you down and go, this is where you're missing the piece. That's the way our teachings were. When we had elders, they took the time to nurture our hearts and our minds. And sometimes people just run with knowledge. They just read, and they feel like they know it. They feel like they know the truth. But you're not going to know the truth in a book. The truth in a book is someone's opinion. Although eloquent, masterful, it's just an opinion. No one knows anything. No one will know anything. All you can is experience and be eloquent about how you express that and articulate that to everything outside of you, which is the universe, stars, planet, people, animals, insects, bacteria, whatever. We're just beings trying to experience this life. If we take that approach and break colonial perspective of wanting to own things and wanting to own people and wanting to own houses and wanting to own, and our people thought that was a mental disorder, that was actually that guy was insane.
And we're peaking right now with all the viewers. This is what Wednesday's discussions are all about. We're just speaking from top of the dome. Anyone who wants to join us, feel free to leave your email in the chat, and we'll go ahead and send you that video invite.
Yeah,
so we can dialogue.
Anybody
we
have a
chat,
question? They want to say something?
Any new viewers tuning in? This is what our shows are all about.
Thank you.
We've had some memorable Wednesdays, right, Zero?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that the Wednesdays would lead to like people very like controversial. Tell me about this, tell me about that. And it's been really mellow. Seems like the audience just likes when I just start going off on something and they just kind of just chill and listen, But, I would love to have questions asked of me and I would love to answer that type of stuff. And I'm just giving you my perspective. It's not special. And there's a lot more other people that can give you a better perspective of what I'm trying to say. We as artists have, and when I say artists, I mean humans, we as artists have a capability of organizing and expressing ourselves, whether it be through our work, whether it be through physical art, whether it be through music. We have a beautiful, beautiful center, an infinite gift, but we get greedy and we try to hold on to that gift. And we think that gift is ours and we're a part of that gift, but we're not the gift. Tumek said it better. Tumek, remember, said, God, remember that God is you, but remember that God isn't you. No, remember that God is in you, but remember that God isn't you. Yep. That was such a classic line by such a profound artist. That is beautiful. That one line, man, I can refer to it in so many situations. You know, that's the same kind of feeling I say when I'm native and I'm indigenous. Remember that the indigenous person lives inside of me, but I'm not all indigenous people. I don't know all indigenous prophecies. I don't know all indigenous ways. I make horrible, spaghetti out of some languages, but that indigenous person still lives inside of me. It's still me. It's still me even after 500 years of genocide. It's still me. I hold on to that with everything, and I teach my children that. We coming out of the darkness, they prophesized about this time. And now elites and colonials don't know how to handle when people who have been suffering for 500 years are standing up for themselves. So they go, lock everybody down. Don't let everyone do anything. There's too much awakening. What awakening? There's no awakening. No one's going to back up pedophiles and human traffickers and children sacrificers, or, don't try to tell me that they don't do that's all conspiracy theory, because, what's happening at the residential schools is reality. And I can't wait till we start digging up all the residential schools. We start digging up all the places that supposedly have, a church on it. They were not nice people. And I'm tired of people just brushing that off their shoulder like if it's nothing. They're very violent people. There are mass graves underneath their shit. That's the Great Awakening. It's not like this, spirit coming out of the universe it's just the truth. Eventually somebody's going to go, tear down that school. Let's make a mall. And they start digging up, and then what the fuck? All kinds of children are here. Right? How do you justify that? First it was molestation. Now it's murder? What else is next?
I just think about all the children that are not found. If it's this extreme.
It is. It's beyond extreme. I mean,
thousands.
How many were cremated? I mean, it goes on and on and on. But this is my point. We're still here. There's still people defending. There's still people saying, hey, I'm not just going to not say anything. And that's where we're at. And that's why the colonial elites are having a hard time. That's why they're mandating vaccines. That's why they're knocking on your door. Hello? Hey, what's going on in here? Get your vaccine. Man, I don't know how any doctor is going, hey, I'm with that. That's against HIPAA law. To share medical information is against HIPAA law. I used to work with autistic kids. You couldn't tell people, hey, that kid's autistic, because that's medical information that you're trying to send someone else. Now they're going to go, excuse me, hey, did you get your shot?
Well, who are these people that they're going to hire to do that, right?
I have no idea, dude. I have no fucking idea, but there's going to be people lining up for that job. There's going to be people lining up for that job. That's so Nazi Germany. That's beyond Nazi Germany. Really, we're in the middle of it. This is not fake, right? When they get to make up scientific names and scare the shit out of your grandma, that's some weird shit. But
so Azteca says something big is coming for sure. They're clearing out hospitals for whatever this new bullshit is.
Yeah.
If you could clarify, Azteca, that would be great.
Let me just clarify this. In 40-somethings, they defeated a German army led by Hitler, right? Right, Armando?
Yep.
Okay. But what happened to all his scientists? What happened? What do you think happened, Armando?
They went to the U.S.
Right. And they became the leaders. You're the leader of NASA now. You're the leader of pharmaceuticals now. You're the leader of biological war now. So, did we really defeat Hitler? That's weird. And now we're in this scientific, experimental, getting direction by non-elected officials. This is what our ancestors prophesized, is that the bones of the genocide will start to talk. People will be upset. What do I do as a colonial?
So Crazy Native says it's funny because I was just watching a video about this. Much respect.
Well,
all those Nazi scientists came to America.
Absolutely.
KKK.
That is not conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. This is fact. This is not, I'm not a weirdo. Ooh.
And from what I recall,
this is fact.
The dude that created NASA was a straight Nazi, right?
Straight up, bro. The perpetuators,
the people, lead scientist, right? It wasn't NASA, just the lead scientist.
Right. Well, I mean, their whole when you take a lead scientist, you don't just take one person, bro. You take his philosophy
and his whole staff,
his philosophy, his research. Right. That's like what 50, 30 years of 25 years of Nazi research. I mean, these fucking guys were doing some crazy shit. The Nazis were doing some crazy shit. Right? And now you're promoted. Oh, yeah, you're good. Come on. You got. This is not conspiracy, so don't go fucking crazy, CIA. I didn't let the cat out the bag. You did. Right? History did. This isn't me. That's what really happened. So then we kind of put one and one together. Why is this? This is like a really bad social experiment put on that kind of level. That's insane that we don't see that.
Wow, it's 7:48. Seems like we have some night owls out here. We're peaking right now, guys. Again, every week, as a reminder, we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the Superman show coming up July 29th. Simply add a comment into the section here and you'll be eligible to win. We already gave away one pair of tickets and I'm looking forward to giving away another pair this coming Sunday. We have some amazing special guests. Shout out to Lower Arizona. He says it's on some Avengers Red Skull shit. LOL. Absolutely. You know what? I could relate to that comment. I can't agree with you more.
Here, I started thinking here. I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to say it. Okay. I'm going to say this, Armando. We have such a low, our information level is really low. Okay. Because we believe that they go, oh, you only use 10% of your brain. And then what do you think will happen if I told my child who was 5 years old, hey, you only use 10% of your brain, so don't sweat it. I'm programming him to only use 10% of his brain, right? Now, I couple that information with bad food. You only use 10% of your brain and you eat like shit, which has no nutrition. So you see how you can only use 10% of your brain if you're getting put into positions where you only use 10% of your brain. But here's what I was thinking. We have no one wants to go back in time, right? And I like to see alternative documentaries that lead beyond the typical realm of science. The Harvard, the yes. There's a lot of information out there that doesn't get funded by these big schools, never gets, shred to the masses. But when you get to hear some of this information and you hear the information that your elder who is telling you a story, it comes from the mountains of Guatemala, and they kind of confirm certain things that they find that they're suppressing, then I start thinking, what fucking time are we really in? Are we in the time of advancement? Are we in the time where advancement took advantage of are low info. Do you understand? In other words, we think like, oh, cars just got invented. Maybe they just held it. You know what I mean? Like, get into the mode of questioning reality for what it is and what you read in a newspaper, in a book, in a fake school. That's what colonialism, elitism is facing. That is the big shift. How do I deal with the truth? Because I can only tell this lie so many times before people start to peel away the layers of the onion and get to the core, which is white supremacy, racism, and they never had the right to take this land. They never had the right to impose law. They never had the right to enslave Africans. They never had the right, yet we act like they did.
So Crazy Native says the Nazi regime was still very much alive, just operating behind the scenes. Now, Hector Ruales says there were black Nazis and Arab Nazis.
Well, I mean, let's take the word Nazi out of it and just say white supremacist, because that's really his message, right? His message was white supremacy. You know what he was? He was the Beatles of white supremacy.
Yep.
He was the Beatles of white supremacy, and his band was the best band of white supremacy, which is his scientists, right? And they fucking shot John Lennon, supposedly, right? Supposedly they killed Hitler, right? You think if I give you all my scientists, if I give you all my wealth, if I give you, and they're gonna kill you still? That's something you need to question. There's a documentary out there on how supposedly Hitler survived and he went to Argentina. So don't read and believe everything you read. And that's not conspiracy theory. That looks like, if you look at it objectively and you go, oh, wow, you're going to take all my scientists and you're going to take all my information, you're going to take all my wealth. Well, can I possibly live? Well, we'll make it look like you died. Don't put it past those guys to do that.
Poor body double, the one that they sacrificed.
I mean, look it up. Look it up. Did Hitler really die? I mean, I'm sure if you Googled it, you would find interesting information. And this is what I mean, is that we have very low info.
I'm 100% convinced that he didn't die.
Of course not. You know what I think? I think this is my comic book side of my brain, but he's like the mastermind of this whole thing, right? Like, he still consults with his scientists via phone, right? Like, I mean, some weird things happened, you know, in the Bush era, right? And I'm talking about the first Bush, George W. Bush, right? George W. Bush, or which one is the dad? The dad.
George Bush Sr.
Yeah, George Bush Sr. Just say that. The old fuck. That guy. I mean, he was the one that deregulated so that Monsanto can do GMOs and do all this. He was the one that deregulated all that. There's a plan for this, bro. And why was it important? Let's talk about that part. Why was it important for Monsanto to get into the thing? Why do you think, Armando? Control the food supply.
Well, greed.
Well, no.
Greed,
to control
right?
That would come with it, because it comes with a lot of money. But if you control the food supply, if you can add things,
you control the world. Which,
right.
You know who's trying to do? Amazon. They're trying to control the global food supply.
There you go. See, you have to buy it through Amazon. It's like weird. These guys are so weird. It's almost laughable. I'm not surprised they come out with Marvel movies, and I bet you Jeff Bezos fucking goes, well, I want to be Red Skull. Oh, you got to write it like this. And
the chat is lit. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We're peaking right now.
Absolutely.
Shout out Serpana. Shout out Hector.
Hector. Is that Hector, my boy?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Hector, my boy.
Shout out to Crazy Native. Shout out to Boogs. Azteca Maya Dasante. Lower Arizona. Man, we love you guys, man.
We do.
Again, spread the message, spread the love.
And remember, we're going to do a Patreon. And in the Patreon, we can go in depth, like give you better perspective, give you, maybe cut clips of video And you know what? Before we go, I wanted to share this last thing, right? Some guy sent me an IG video. And it was one of those, long 40-minute videos explaining how, had a lot of fact in it, right? And it was a video saying that they had communication with an elite individual who was a part of the 13 families that ruled the world, and that, he was just trying to drop a lot of debunking, and he told me, what do you think about this? Right? And a lot of what the secrets that were being leaked from this elite are already known in Egypt, in Mexico, in the Middle East. All these wisdoms are already known. But we live in a city. In that city, there are schools. There are businesses. There are places to buy food. But very little amount of people own those distributions. So think of it like in the time of Pharaoh, if he was supposed to be giving grain or whatever it is that they ate during that time, or bread, wheat for their bread or whatever, kind of like that. They have that mentality. They never stopped it from, I think, Napoleon, where they were so mesmerized what happened in Egypt that they could recreate it, right? And I think that's the kind of philosophy that they write: control the food, control this, control that, control. But they can only control the information, the direct information, the narrative, what people call the narrative. So my opinion is it, though, we already knew that. So you're not giving away any secrets. So that tells me that you never really had any power. The only power you have is manipulation, and those that don't have information can't challenge your power. That's basically what I got out of it. But elites forget one principle, and I'm going to leave you with this. We're magnificent beings. There is no origin to us, in the sense where we could point a finger, or have a book, or have a stone, or have a drawing. We're mysterious beings. We're complex nervous systems. We're unexplainable blood flow. We're unimaginable imagination that has survived genocide. And no elite could ever convince me of otherwise. Take your bullshit reality back to Europe and see what you could do with it over there. Because on these lands, we respect Mother Earth. We respect the water. We respect the wind. We respect the fire. We respect the people on it. We respect the animals on it. We respect the insects on it. We respect the tiniest molecule. This is our strength. This is our wisdom. This is our road. And this is our mission. We'll see you. LA Natives.
LA Natives, Los Aslan Natives podcast. We will see you this coming Sunday. We have a very special guest. Peace.
Peace out.